don't forget that the lessons are being recorded. We kind of slacked off on that, but we're gonna get back into making sure lessons are recorded for every grade level and uploaded, so that even if it's a 10th grade lesson, you never know, you could benefit from it. All right. Okay, so we are recording and we are live. All right. So guys, we're continuing our look at comprehension, the comprehension paper. Okay. Now, who can remember what we talked about yesterday? What did we talk about in regards to this particular paper?
Aaliyah saying it's worth 45%, Mr. Joaquin.
Yes, it is worth it. It is the weightiest of all of the papers. All right, so you wanna make sure you get it right. But, yes, Aaliyah. When I said that I was being sarcastic, I wasn't being serious. But yes, that is also correct. In number, because yeah. So yeah. Anyway, let's continue. Okay.
You got
now.
Stuff?
Anyone else want to add something else?
It's like the previous people. So you're gonna see if I can tell something because I don't know what happening.
Okay. I'll add you again.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to clear out something along with this. Like this is so.
Anyone else? Student?
I'll call you now on it.
Okay. It's reading comprehension and directed writing. Directed writing question is worth the most points. Yes, Pranisha. Very good job. Okay. Anyone else? Well, something else we talked about before the lesson ended. I am sure. Let's focus, guys. Come on. Oh man, some of you are majoring on the minor with these links and stuff, man. Like this is stuff that you all should already have taken care of. Students, come on. This is the actual lesson now. Now it's not the time to be asking for links. Come on, guys. I need you focused. Mrs. Dennis just spoke to you guys about how limited your time is. I mean, next week is basically February, and February is a short month. Okay, and you guys may be coming back in February, and then we only have maybe 2 months because there's also Easter. So 2 months left to teach you guys, possibly, maybe 2.5, maybe. All right. So whatever we're not doing now and in February and March and a part of April, we won't get to do. Okay, because May, BGCSEs are usually in full swing. And you have end of term exams to prepare for. So I need you guys more focused. I can't just have 2 people answering for the entire class. Like there are others of you have an internet connection. You're here. Your mics are working. Your speakers are working. So do not be afraid to like answer. Come on. Because this is stuff we could deal with at the end of class, not at the beginning. Again, I will ask. Pranisha already mentioned the fact that paper 3 is the reading comprehension paper and directed writing, and that the directed writing question that comes at the end of the paper is worth the most points. And Aaliyah already told us that paper 3 is worth 45%. It's out of 40, it's out of 45, and it's worth 45% overall, with paper 1 being worth 40, the essay paper being worth 40, and paper 2, the listening comprehension paper, being worth 15. And we know that 40 plus 45 is 85, and once you add that 15, you get 100%. Okay? But we were talking about something else prior to the lesson ending. All right, we were talking about what comprehension is. We were talking about the levels of comprehension that you expected to know. Nobody remembers any of this. Nobody can remember what those things we discussed yesterday.
Yes, Celia, I always tell you guys to start when you start answering paper 3. You always start off with the last question.
Yes, Celia. That is a good strategy because, and there's nothing wrong with looking over the other questions before you do that, but it is always good to start with the last question, because a lot of students tend to either they run out of time, they don't write it, or they don't get to finish.
Yeah. Majority of the time, they don't get to finish.
And Mrs. Dennis, I'm sure you've read some excellent responses, but it's, oh man, they just left out so much because you see they were just trying to rush and wrap it up, right?
I'm telling you, they're not able to close out their essay, and I'm like, geez, this could have been an awesome grade, but if it's incomplete, you cannot give them the grade that it would have possibly been if they completed the essay. You know?
Yes, absolutely. That is correct.
Good job, Deborah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone who's contributed. Thank you so much. Okay. Oh, man. Okay, so here we go. Listen. Anyway. Okay, guys, so let's continue. Yeah, let's just get back into it. Because there's some things, so we can just skip past some of this information about what it's worth and all of that. Okay. All right. Now we said that the definition of comprehension. Well, comprehension simply means the ability to one's ability to understand something, understand a piece of writing, understand something that is spoken, something that is seen. All right. Understand it in some way. Okay. Now it means intentional thinking, during which meaning is constructed through interactions between text and reader. Okay, so you read something, and it's not like this passive thing, like you read it and then you're like, oh, okay, whatever. You read it, and you are actively, intentionally trying to understand what is being stated. Okay?
Yes.
All right,
please
so
stress that again, Mr. Walking. Stress that to them, please.
I can't stress it enough. Okay, so guys, when you read things, it's okay to think about what you read. As a matter of fact, at this level, we expect you to think more deeply about what's in front of you. Okay, especially when it comes to comprehension passages, there's always something beneath the surface. All right, like an iceberg, right? So imagine a comprehension passage like an iceberg, right? An iceberg seems pretty big at the top, but once you dive beneath the water, you all know this, there's much more to the iceberg than what appears on the surface. All right, so just keep that example in that illustration in your minds whenever we're talking about comprehension. All right, so guys, comprehension is it takes work. All right, it takes effort, right? And I find that too many students, either they lack confidence when it comes to reading comprehension, or they're not willing to give their energy over to something that they don't want to do. All right, so therefore, like, that's reflected in their grades, in their responses, which are usually not good. All right, so we don't want that. Okay? We want you to go in. We want you to go in. We want you to like be intentional. We want you to underline key words, key parts of that passage. We want you to write little things in the margin when you get in that BGCSE examination. You can write all over that answer, all over that question booklet inside, not answering questions, but I mean, when you can annotate the passage. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later. But, you know, you make little scribbles and things of that nature whenever you're looking at the paragraphs in the passage, okay? In an attempt to understand the passage as a whole. Because guess what? If you are how many of you in here like jigsaw puzzles? My mom used to love jigsaw puzzles. Anyone in here like, I don't know, you also, you know, we're so high tech now, I don't even know if we do those things anymore, right? So anyone in here like jigsaw puzzles? No? Anyone in here know what a jigsaw puzzle is?
I was ask that.
Because I know you guys are pretty young. You guys are like generation Z. Okay?
So they're saying that, mommy. So Nelda said yes, yes. So Eduardo, yeah, they're saying yes.
Now, let me ask you another question. You know that, well, let me say this. You know that when you get the puzzle, right? A picture of on the box, there's a picture of, well, the photo on the box or the picture on the box is usually the image that you're supposed to put together using the pieces. All right? Now, let me say something to you. Can you complete that puzzle and see the whole picture if you're missing pieces? Can you?
So some of them are saying no.
No, you cannot. You will not be able to see the whole picture if you're lacking some of the pieces. Now, what do I mean by that? You will not be able to answer the questions in a comprehension passage as well as you could if you are missing like information. If you're missing key, like certain, like there may be certain like points in that passage that you may skip over or that you may ignore or that you may miss, and that can hurt your understanding of the passage overall, because you have to understand the whole thing. You can't just understand sections of it. You can't have pieces missing. That's my point. Okay, students. Now I know some of you are like, DeAndre was like, we ain't old, so we don't know nothing about no stupid crossword. I mean, we don't know nothing about no jigsaw puzzle. Fine. Oh my God. Anyway, so like I was saying, but I know this is something that many of you, because students were doing it from like I was in school, right? And this is something that many of you can identify with, right? You get a comprehension passage for the end of term exam, or even in class for practice. Mrs. Dennis gives it to you, Mr. Toussaint, Mrs. Toot, right? And you read the first sentence, right? Then you flip the page and look at the first question, right? Then you read the next couple sentences, and then you flip the page again to get back to the questions, and then you look at. How many of you do that?
You better start saying yes.
And be honest, because God is watching.
That's right.
Don't say I don't do that. Okay?
So Troy, you should say me. Okay, well, Troy, you being honest.
Right, okay, that's good. All right. Tyron, okay, you do it all the time? I appreciate that honesty. Okay? Now let me tell you why you should not do that. Okay? You shouldn't do that. Okay? Exactly. I've been out of school almost 20 years, and I knew if I said that this morning, all right, people would be like, yeah, I ain't gonna lie, Mr. Walkie, I used to do that, I ain't gonna lie. All right? Jesus, the amount of people that are not listening is ridiculous.
Who is he? Okay. So don't do it.
Anyway, let's keep going on this phone. All right. You shouldn't do that because what you will end up doing is missing out the overall picture of the passage. If you're just focusing on sections to answer the little questions, when it comes to questions like the directed writing question or the summary question, you will falter because you don't have an overall understanding of the passage. Okay? There's so much to talk about. There's so much to talk about. No, I don't think she was saying that to you, Angel.
No, and Renandino, both of them said what he see. She know why she said that.
Okay. All right, so let's keep going. Okay, we don't need to focus on this too much. All right, now this is what I was trying to get you guys to recall, right? To sprinkle a bit more meaning on today's concept. The comprehend means to understand in depth. Okay? And you know the beautiful thing about English, and I think my colleagues and my teammates will agree, is that English, a lot of times, unless the answer is just plain stupid, there are no wrong answers or wrong interpretations. Because comprehension is interpretive, right? But there are still certain rules. There are still certain rules that have to be followed in comprehension. Okay? There's still certain rules that have to be followed in comprehension, even though it's not like math, because in math 1 + 1 is 2. And if you write 3, you can't argue with your teacher and say, well, Mr. Kachakaya, I understand that for like thousands of years, people thought that 1 + 1 was 2. But let me tell you something, last night, I decided that it was 3. And you can't tell me I'm wrong. Okay? You can't tell me I'm wrong. Because in English, they said that, like, if you interpret something a certain way, then that's fine. So don't do that, please. Okay? Because we would never tell you that 1 and 1 is 3. Okay? Unless you can prove it. All right, so let's go. Yeah, okay. So you're expected to be able to read at this level for literal meaning. We already talked about that surface meaning. All right? He was hot. Okay? He was hot. Meaning, because the electricity went out, he was hot. Okay? So that's literal. Let me unmute you guys, man. Now I don't want to hear like a bunch of noise in the background, the TV and all that stuff. But I'm gonna allow you guys to unmute. All right. So you guys have the privilege of verbal communication now. Okay. So in my example, listen carefully, please. Okay. So like I was saying in my example, literal meaning. All right. Because the electricity went out, he was hot. Okay. So and that's one level of meaning. Now, another level of meaning that you need to be familiar with is inferential. Now, inferential meaning would be like, okay, why do you think the electricity went out? And what would you say to that, students? And Mrs. Dance, I think we really need to start calling on people because, yeah.
I agree. Only a handful of persons are actually participating, so I can get started with calling names if you want me to.
Yeah, by all means. So, guys, that was an actual question. If I say that the power went out and he was hot, and then I ask you, why do you think the power went out? What are some reasons you could give? He didn't pay his bill. Guys, you can use the mics. All right, geez, I mean, you guys are so conditioned now. It's crazy. All right. Yeah. All right, Emmanuel. Go ahead, Emmanuel.
I was gonna say BPL was doing something and they turned off the power.
Yeah, very good. That could be another reason why the power went out. Okay. Now, evaluative meaning. All right, reading for that means like you're reading something to criticize it. Now, that's where you may be like, maybe this word could have been used instead of this. Maybe we could have used like he was perspiring instead of saying hot. Okay, or you could say the language was too simplistic in that sentence, or you could say that it was short, simple, and to the point. That is like reading for like assessment, reading for forming opinions. All right, so that's a very high level, like Mr. Tucson was saying yesterday, of comprehension. All right, so but for the most part, at the BGCSE level, you are only expected to be at literal and inferential. I don't really think they kind of assess evaluative, meaning I don't even think they do it on paper 4. All right, this is more like a college level thing that you will encounter when you expected to critique an essay or a book or something. If you know, so yeah.
I do, because last
Okay, guys. So here we need to keep the wheels turning. Okay. Oh, Jude, go ahead, Judla. No, okay. The definition.
one.
All right, guys, just remember to mute yourselves again, please. The definition of comprehension may have comprehension, may have been a bit wordy, but there it is. Sorry. Okay.
This must be
All right.
On school.
my time is that.
Huh?
Why is that?
Oh,
It
God.
on right now. I just see.
Thank you, Roshan. Jeez, I was starting to lose my mind. Okay.
I had to mute him.
Okay, so here we go. All right. Now, the definition of comprehension may have been a bit wordy, but there is hope. Like, unlike many other examinations, the BGCSE paper 3 reading comprehension passage contains virtually all of the answers you will need to successfully complete it. Let me say that again. Okay, like Miss and Mrs. Dennis was talking about this, I think, the same week. All right, or I can't remember if it was Mrs. Dennis or Mrs. Toot. One of them was talking about this when they said that in English, in comprehension in particular, like the passage has every answer. It's just that you may have to infer, because remember we talked about explicit, implicit information. Explicit means information that is clearly stated, or like literal information. All right. Implicit means information that is implied or information that you can make inferences about. All right. Textual information is surface information, like what do these words say, what do they mean? Okay. And then you have subtextual information, and subtextual information is just another term for implicit information. All right. But bottom line is, when you read that passage, every answer that you need is in that passage. It's just that for many of the questions, you will have to read between the lines, look at the implications. What does this question want from you? What is this passage suggesting? Or what's another way or another meaning or other meanings that can be interpreted from this passage or from this paragraph in this passage? All right. So let's keep going. Now we're going to look at types of comprehension questions. All right, we have 1, direct questions. Answers are stated plainly in passage. Now, these are your favorites. You know why? Because you get to look in the passage, flip the page, and then put the answer under the question, right? So very basic, very primary schoolish, very elementary and rudimentary, very basic. All right, and I think young people like yourselves, you don't want to be basic. You want to be extraordinary, right?
Hey, Mr. Walking in.
Mm-hmm.
Are they usually the multiple choice? That's where they'll find most of those kind of direct questions.
Yeah, but sometimes even the multiple choice questions sometimes are not as direct as that. But for the most part, yeah, like the answers are basically for the multiple choice at the paper 3 level for the BGCSE. Like you can sometimes almost word for word, they have the responses, the multiple choice responses, like right from the passage. Like it tends to, but not always. because
No.
sometimes they stick one of those questions in there that requires you to, if you're not careful, all right, you'll be tripped up.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, or a couple of the multiple choice questions may require you to do a little inferencing work.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Everyone still with me, or like Mr. Toussaint would say, are you lost in the sauce? Everyone still with me? Don't lie, please. I don't like people who lie. Sorry, I don't like lying. I never say I don't like people who lie, because the behavior is the issue, not the person.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, guys. Everyone still with me? No?
Yes, thumbs up. Something.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, but I'm just saying they can talk. All right. All right. So yeah. All right. Direct questions. Answers are stated plainly in the passage, and everybody likes direct questions. Everyone, like if there were a party, everyone would want direct questions to come. Hey, direct questions. Direct questions. We're having this party, man. I tailgaters, we need you. You got to be there, bro. It's gonna be the party of the year. No masks. Nothing. No social distancing up in here, boy. COVID all day. But anyway, all right. Direct questions, okay? Factual, all right? Retrieve facts from the passage. Quoting. Quote a word or phrase, sentence, or expression. So, I mean, it doesn't get easier than that. But sometimes it's not easy, right? Like Mrs. Dennis, I don't know if you ever did the Papa Smith one.
No, I haven't done that one.
That one basically, it was I think all of you should know Patricia Clinton McCollus, right?
Yes.
That's an excerpt from, I don't know if it was a short story or something. She wrote an excerpt from one of her novels.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Patricia Clinton McCollus she's a Bahamian novelist.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. She's very good, and a very good one at that. So she basically,
don't worry, if they're going to UB, they're going to be reading a lot of her work.
Yeah, I will hopefully. So anyway, students, so like I was saying, she was writing, the passage was basically an excerpt from, like, it was autobiographical. She was writing about her childhood and her grandfather, and how they would go to him sometimes in the summers. So what happened was, I think one of the questions said, quote the expression from paragraph 1 lines, or paragraph 1 that illustrated the narrator's love and fear of her grandfather, right? And it said, quote, 7 words. Okay? And let me tell you something. I marked that year because I'm an old man. According to many people, I don't know. All right, but not to me. I don't feel old. Okay, but it's so the question said, like, quote 7 words from paragraph 1 that suggests the narrator's love and fear of her grandfather's arrival. Okay, because the grandfather would come to take them to Cat Island, but they had to leave their parents. So, and guys, this was it, right? It wasn't even one straight quote. It was kind of broken up, right? So these were the 7 words. This dear man was the Grim Reaper. This dear man was the Grim Reaper. And so many students did not get that year. So that wasn't that direct. You had to really have your thinking cap on for that one. But hopefully you guys don't buck up against anything like that this year.
But
okay?
Also, sorry, I didn't mean to interject, Mr. Joaquin, but also what I need them to understand is if they're asking for 7 words, do not give the entire sentence that is more than 7 words. If they're asking to quote or give a phrase and they're asking you to give 7 words, do not give the entire sentence, paragraph, because you are not going to get it right. They're asking you for something specific. And if you do not adhere to that, then you're going to lose the point for it. And a lot of them lose the points. A lot.
Yep.
Miss Dana's question. Do they lose points if they do not include the quotation marks?
No.
Well, let me tell you this now. I'll tell you this. I always tell my students to do it because there have been years where they penalize them for
Well,
if you see if it's worth like 1 point, chances are they won't penalize the students. But if it's 2 points for the quote for that question, that quote, they may knock something. I remember when we did the Papa Smith one.
They may knock a point off or something. That is true.
But they've become very lax with a lot of things. They're watering a lot of things down. So they're allowing a lot of things that they usually didn't allow. So, but I always tell my students, like, listen, man, do your due diligence. Don't leave anything to chance. Use quotation marks, man.
But
okay,
a lot of them lose that point. Trust me, a lot. They lose that point because they're not following the instructions. You have a lot of them. They put the entire sentence, and then you're like, okay, we asked for 7 words. What are we supposed to do with it? You can't get it right because you didn't do it right.
That's very deep. That's deep, man. That's deep. All right. So guys, look at it. All right. So and then we have the 5 W questions. All right. Who is asking you to identify the person, where, asking you to identify the place, when, asking you to give a time, why, asking you to identify the cause, what, asking you to specify information, and how, asking you to give the method or process of the answer. Okay, so if you see that word, if you see one of these W's, including and how, all right, 1H, 5W, 1H, and you refer back to this particular slide, you will see what each of these means. Who said these words, right? So and so said these words. Where did this take place? Oh, this took place at this particular area. When? Oh, this took place during this particular time. Why? Now, why is a high level question. Why is probably the highest level question you can ask. Do you guys realize that? Because that's what scientists do, They ask why, or they try to answer the why. All right? Like, why is the sky blue? Why do human beings only live for so long while tortoises and jellyfish can live much, much longer? Like, why? Okay? So, just keep those the 5W, 1H questions in mind when you see them pop up. I don't know what's going on with Teams today, but anyway.
Yeah, Nakia, they keep kicking her out. I don't know.
But maybe it always happens and we just are noticing it because we have to allow them in. Okay, types. Yeah. That was the first type was the direct question. The second type of question was it's a vocabulary question, and this is where you're expected to unravel the meaning of a word based on the passage. There are 3 ways to unravel the meanings of words. 1. Listen, I have to make it fun for me and for the students, otherwise I'll kill myself. All right?
It's a Thanos voice, eh?
No, that's not Thanos. Man, I'd have to go, man. Anyway, I'd have to go deep for Thanos. All right. Use contextual clues. The hero died a beautiful death. Okay? So, vocabulary, right? We're talking about unraveling the meaning of a word based on the passage. 3 ways to do it. Use context clues. The hero died a beautiful death. Now, you may say, Mr. Walking, what you talking about beautiful? What's so beautiful about death? What you mean? And the people is rotting in the ground and all them things, man, and all the blood and the guts everywhere. So what is this? Okay, so guys, in this sentence, what do you think beautiful means? Anybody? The mic is open.
I think it means.
Yeah, all right.
Go ahead.
Glorious.
Glorious. You mean like Maximus from Gladiator? He had he died a glorious death. Yes. Okay. But most people wouldn't call death beautiful. All right. But the hero dying a beautiful death, meaning he died probably in battle. He died. He vanquished his foe, and like after he vanquished the big bad guy, like the bad guy's minions descend upon the hero and they slice him into a million pieces, but he did what he was supposed to do, and his comrades avenge him. So he died a beautiful death, and the sun was setting, and whatever. All right, so let's keep going.
So Shakespearean, man.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so analyze compound words. For example, sunblock. Sunblock. So what does sunblock mean? Just break up. Don't tell me what it is. What does the word, those two words together mean? Don't tell me what sunblock is.
Well, who's starting?
That's Yuri, always.
Come on, guys. Help them out, please. Help them out, please. We're almost out of time.
I'll get the link, Mr. Joaquin.
I already have it. I already have it ready to go.
Okay.
I'll paste it right now. All right, guys, please remember that you can talk. You can unmute yourselves.
They're really quiet today, for real.
Too quiet.
But Mr. Joaquin, I like that you're bringing up, this vocabulary, because they need to know the context is also very important. The context in which the word is used.
Yes.
Sometimes the definition that you think it is, it isn't really that definition because it's used in a different context. So you have to read the passage and look for the words around the passage and really see what the writer is meaning or the writer is trying to say.
Exactly, because I tell students, guys, by the way, the attendance link is in the chat, that the word bad has so many meanings.
Yes.
Right? I remember when I was a little kid, bad was like, that's solid. Okay, or great, like way bad, right? And bad, and bad also means like not good. And in the U.S. in the African American, in Ebonics and African American vernacular, bad could mean, man, she's beautiful, like she is, whoa, she's bodacious, right? And we all know what a bad means, yeah. But anyway, okay, so we just leave that there. All right. So
you know what's amazing? You guys are getting. I mean, Mr. Joaquin is giving you every single thing that is required of you for paper 3. I don't think you guys are understanding. Like, he's going through this, and I'm like, geez, this is every step of what you need to know. Please pay attention, students. Please.
Time running up so fast.
I can't believe no one has told me what the words sun and block mean together. But anyway. So sun, meaning that big ball of gas in the in the sky. Yeah? You know that thing? If you look outside your window, you may see it. I don't know if you've seen it.
Oh wow, Mr. Joaquin.
Oh wow, break it up.
All right. And then block. You know what it means to block. Well, block is like college of the blocks, right? Right, young people? Right? But we're not talking about that kind of block. We're not talking about the blocks you would use to build a house. We're talking about the verb block, right? Which means to prevent something from reaching you. All right? So like if someone is trying to punch you and you block the punch, you stop their fist from like hitting your face. Okay? So sun block is the act of blocking the sun. Whoa. Deep, right? Okay. Because I don't know why someone couldn't just say so. That's that was simple. So sometimes compound words can tell you what the words together may not make sense to you, but if you break them up into separate words, you'll be like, oh, this is what this means. Okay, now you can look at the prefix and the suffix. The handwriting was totally illegible. Now ledger, all right, If you think about ledger comes from ledger, something that you would write on. Okay, legible means something that is capable of capable of being read, something that's written that is capable of being read. Ill means not. So legible means I can read it. All right. Ill means not readable. Okay. So, okay, guys, we have to stop here. All right. Did anyone learn anything today, or do you feel like